we supposed to discuss on the OS installation today, and then we'll discuss on help system. So and we can go with the basic Linux commands. So how to get to know the Linux command and how the syntax will be. All right. So when it comes to OS, we have client version and also server version. So we already know client version is mainly for desktop or laptop, and server version is only for servers. So we already have the same type of in Windows as well, right? So usually we'll have Windows 10, 11 for desktop systems, and for servers we yeah please.
No, no, you can continue,
Any
Nipun.
questions?
No, no, no.
Okay. All right. So for we are servers, right? So we have Windows 2012, 2019, 2025, right? So likewise, we have same kind of variations in Linux as well. So we have desktop version and also server version. And also when it comes to the enterprise version and also the commercial version, we have open source softwares, OS, and also paid version. So we can use open source. The code is already available. So the source code is already available in the portal. So you can download from the portal and you can install the OS. So the documentation and all is already there. So for example, if you want to install the Ubuntu, so you can directly go and check the Ubuntu website, and then so under the downloads page you can able to download the version. So we always go with the n-1 version. So for example, if the latest version is 24.04, then we have to go with n-1. So we have to go with 24.04. So likewise, so why we are referring n-1 means, so it will be easy and it's a stable one instead of the latest one. So latest one might have some issues, or some it might need some enhancement. So that's why we always go with n-1 version. So you can download the packages from here, and the system specifications and all, it will be already mentioned over here. So and also the documentation how to use that OS package. So those kind of steps it's already mentioned. So just need to follow the guidelines what they provided here over here, right? So it's a simple one. You can easily do your own OS setup. And when it comes to paid version or commercial version, so we have to rely on the the documentation is still there. You can go and use that documentation, and the only thing is we need to get the license. So since it's a paid enterprise one, so we need to procure the license from the vendor. So, for example, if you are going to use SUSE, you have to get from SUSE. And if you are going to purchase from that, you have to get the license from that vendor. So the pricing model is different. So you can engage with account manager who is working from vendor side, and they will provide you the details. So currently everyone is already already aligned with that vendor part, right? So I mean our projects. So we just need to use the existing contact to get to know the details. So the difference between the open source and the commercial is when it comes to open source, so we have to rely on our own interest. So for example, so for setup, for upgrade, for installation patches, so those kind of thing we have to do ourselves. So either we have to get support from the community, and we have to get some information from the internet to rely on that information, and we have to do ourselves. But when it comes to commercial or operating system, we can get the support from vendor. And so if you are having some issues, and you can raise the ticket with the vendor, and based on the supporting matrix, they will provide you the update within that SLA. So source code we could not able to find since it's a protected one when it comes to commercial. But open source is the source code is available, it's publicly available. We can able to read that code as well. So when it comes to technical support, we already discussed. So mostly the support and also the service point we have to do ourselves on the open source. So commercial we can get support from the vendor. Okay, so I will provide you the link, or else you can get it from the internet as well. So if you want to use Ubuntu for your lab setup, you can do yourself. You can get download from here, and then you just follow the steps which is mentioned over here. So for now, what we are going to do, we are going to use the lab. So we already have the online lab from that DAT. So I will provide the link as well. So if you don't have any test environment in your cloud or in your local, so then you can utilize this lab. So this is available, open. We don't need to sign up anything. So the time is only the lab is only 50 minutes duration. So after that, the session will be out. So we have to start the session, again. All right. So when it comes to Linux system, right? So once you deployed the machine, so we can be able to connect Linux machines using software called PuTTY. So we might use in our projects so to connect the Linux servers or storage servers, which is rely on Linux box. So we supposed to use PuTTY to connect, and then we already know about PuTTY, right? So anyone new with PuTTY? Okay, so I will tell you. So PuTTY is the terminal. So which is it's a software, open source software. So you can use this software to connect the Linux servers. So once you install the PuTTY on the Windows servers, okay, so you will get the Windows like this. So you have to provide that IP host name, FQDN, or IP address. So by default, we have to communicate with port number 22. Okay, and then once you click on open, and then it will show. It will ask you to enter the username. Okay, so in the lab we don't have any username and password. That's why it's connected directly. But when it comes to the personal systems or enterprise systems, so it will ask you to enter the username. So either you have to use your own credentials, which mean the account which created for you. So you have to use your user ID, and then you have to provide your password, corresponding password. Okay, so if you are the administrator, so Linux admin, you are managing the Linux team, I mean Linux devices, then you might have the root account. So root account is the one is a administrator account. So in Windows we have administrator, right? So the similar way we are using root for Linux. So if you are connected with the root, you can able to manage anything. So I mean everything on the machines. You can configure the IP address. You can delete the files. You can create your files. You can create a user account. You can install the software. So you can do whatever you want on that server. So if you have your individual account access, you can able to do what the authentication they provide you. So the permissions they provide you. So for example, if you have individual account, so you can do within your home directory. So we will learn about the directory, after this one. So in the home directory, it will be created for each account, each individual account. Let's say I am the Linux team. So in my team, I have 10 members. So I am the team lead. So team lead is a L3 or L4, right? So basically, they might know the root credentials, and for L1, L2, they might use only the individual account. So usually we are not sharing the root account to anyone, even within the team. Okay, since it's a highest privileges, right? So we don't want to mess up anything on the servers, especially on the production servers. So if you want to give some exceptional, permissions or exceptional, access, so then we have a mechanism called sudo. So have you heard about sudo? So first of all, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Napoleon. Yeah, the audio is
Yes,
clear.
yeah, on.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So let it be an interactive session. So even if you already know, please tell me. If you are not sure, also please tell me so that I can know. You are listening. Yeah.
User who have access as like a root, or
Correct.
they can do the sudo, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to, have the same kind of access with the root, I mean, like root, then you can add your account in the sudo s file. So sudo is the one to give special permissions to the individual accounts. Okay, so it's not a full permission. So you either it depends on the permission level what you are setting up on the sudo s file. So for example, if you want to do, you can't delete any files, but you can create your files. You can set some kind of permissions in the sudo s file. Or else, if you want to replicate the sudo, I mean root privileges, you can do as well. So either you can give some set of permissions, or you can provide the entire permissions. So you can do it on the sudo s file. So sudo file will be available on the etc folder. So I'm just giving right away, but later we will discuss in detail. So this is the file. So it's under the etc folder directory. So sudo is the file. So if you want to give a special permission or exceptional permissions on the individual account, you can provide here. So you have to edit this file and you can provide the access to the individual accounts. So root having all equal to all, which means they can do anything, any command anywhere. Okay, so if you want to set up your individual account like root, you have to provide that account here, and you have to make sure to give all equal to all. Okay, so likewise, you can if you want to give only special only to special task or different tasks, you can mention here. Yeah, so we will discuss on the same letter. Okay, so if you are connecting with your individual account, then you can able to view with tilde symbol and then dollar. So here in the lab, if you see, so it's with the tilde hash, right? So since it's in the lab, it's connected with root credentials, root account. So root is the highest privileges, is admin, right? So that's why it's showing hash. So if it is a individual account, you will see dollar symbol. So for remoting, so remoting is nothing but to connect a machine from one machine. So to connect different machine from one machine, right? So for remote connectivity, so Linux using the you know SSH. So SSH is the protocol. So for Windows, we are using WinRM, right? So likewise, in Linux, we are using SSH. So SSH is the protocol which is used to connect the Linux machines. So the full name of SSH is Secure Shell. So the default port number for SSH is 22. So that's why if you are connecting with PuTTY, you can able to see port 22. So here, so by default, it will load with port 22. All right. So if you want to connect from one machine to another machine, so you can either use multiple PuTTY session, or else you can connect with one server to another. So using SSH command. So SSH is a command. Using that, you can connect another machine. So for example, if I need to connect with one more Linux servers, you can use SSH command and followed by the username. If you want to use root, you can use root, or else if you want to use your local account, you can use local account to connect that particular machine, and followed by at the rate, and followed by that particular machine IP or FQDN name. So once you enter, it will ask you to it will ask for the password, so for the corresponding account. So here I used root, right? So it will ask you to, it is expecting for root credentials. So we have to provide that credentials in order to communicate to that server. And then once everything is working fine, then it will show the corresponding server here. So for example, if I'm connecting 10.4.3.2, so based on the successful connectivity and also the authentication, you will get the server name here instead of rel. Okay. All right. So log out from that remote server, we can use exit command. Exit is the command to log out from that server. So once you log out from that remote machine, you will end up with your home server, your test server, which server you connected previously. See, any questions till now?
I think we are good.
Okay, yeah, thanks. All right. So in Linux, everything is based on files. So files means is a combined with folder as well. So in Linux, we are calling file system hierarchy. So whatever you are seeing on the Linux is based on the files. It might be a configuration files. It might be the system files, software files, user files, and network files. Anything, whatever you are seeing on the Linux machine, this is a CLI version. So that's why you can able to find everything as a file. So if you want to do something, then you have to change the file content. You have to add some attribute, or you have to modify something on the file. So you will frequently work with file systems. Okay. So if you have a GUI version, so Ubuntu having a GUI version, so like Windows. So in that you can do a right click, left click, and then you can open that file in the editor and do whatever you want. So most of the Linux machines, even nowadays Windows machines are also having CLI versions, right? They have options. So usually you are supposed to interact with files. All right. So Linux systems, so everything is stored on the file systems. So the parent root of the hierarchy is slash. So slash is the root tree. Okay, so from there all the directories will be derived. So from slash we have multiple main directories. Slash is the root and followed by bin, boot, dev, etc, home, root, run, sbin, temp, user, var. So each directory having its own purpose. So we will go through each and every file systems. So from that we might have different sub child directory. So home might have individual username. So for each individual ID, so we have a home directory. So whenever you are going to create a new username, so you can able to create a home for that particular username. So the home directory is mainly for individual accounts. So for root accounts, it's it's based on the root directory. Home is mainly for individual accounts. And when it comes to sbin, so we have child sbin, so it's linked with user directory. So we have temporary folders under the slash is a main temp folder, and also we have temp folder under the user as well, and also we have temp under var directory as well. So this is mainly for your internal purposes, so you can use. So if you want to do something on the server side, we always rely with the main temp folders. All right. So we have the following terms, the following types of contents on the file systems. So one is static content, so remains unchanged, so until explicitly edited or reconfigured. And dynamic contents are variables which is based on the process, active process. Third one is persistent content. So after the reboot, you will get those kind of content. So runtime content. So based on the process, the it will add some data based on the runtime content. So these are the four kind of content available on the files systems. Okay, so if you see here, these are the locations, directories, main directories. So we will learn about the purpose of each directories. So from the name itself, we can able to understand slash boot. So whenever these OS is booting, it might be a initial boot or else a reboot, so that the booting mechanism or booting related files are available under the slash boot directory. So ls is the command in Linux to search the files and folders, to list the files actually. So if I need to list boot directory, I can use ls space slash boot. So it will list whatever the files or folders within the boot directory. So currently I could see these are the files and folders available within the boot. So we are not going to change anything. So it's present based on the OS installation. Okay. So if you want to check something, if you could not able to boot something, or if you have some issues boot related, then you have to navigate to boot directory, and then you have to check the corresponding files. The second one is dev directory. So dev directory is a special device files that the system uses to access hardware. So the dev directory is a device directory. So like we have C drive D drive in Windows, right? So likewise, we can able to segregate the drives over here. So if I do ls on /dev, so I can able to find the list of devices over here. So the main devices are STA, start with SD, STA, STA1, STA2, STB, STC. So df is the command to know the disk details of this particular server. Okay. So if you want to know the disk information, so how about the file system uh, size, total size, available size, free size? So you have to use df command. So df command will provide the information about disk. Okay. So here, if you see, so these are the main disk information. So it's under dev directory only. So it's always start with SDA, SDB, SDC likewise. So how we differentiated in Windows, right? C, D, E, F, G. So likewise in Linux, it is named with SDB, SDA, SDC like that. So if you want to do some LAN allocation, so if you want to do some kind of capacity report, those kind of thing, I have to come here and you have to validate the available percentage, used percentage over here. So we will learn about this one later in detail, how we are getting the disk information. So this is the main command. So under that we have some options to filter only this data instead of the temporary files and all. So the third one is etc. So etc is the main one which contains configuration files, system configuration files. So if I do ls on etc, so we can able to find most of the configuration files. So switch configuration, syslog configuration. So the file name end up with .conf. So sometimes it's end up with ini, sometimes it end up with cnf, sometimes it's end up with conf. So the configuration file names will be end up with cnf, conf .ini. Okay. So these are the configuration files. So whenever you are installing some softwares, so for example, if you are installing Ansible, if you are installing some configuration tools like SaltStack, Puppet, Chef, or any kind of software, then it might contains the configuration files. So the configuration files will be located under etc directory. Okay, so if you want to deal with any configuration, you directly come to etc folder, etc directory. Okay, the next one is home. So home directory is mainly for regular users. It's individual users. So to store their data and configuration files. And root is mainly for administrative level root account. Okay, and slash run is for runtime data for process that started since the last reboot. So from the last reboot, whatever the data is processing and it's captured on the process PID, right? So it's a process is captured. Then those kind of data will be logged and it's available under run. Okay. And temp files is the temporary files. So like we have C temp, right, in Windows. So likewise we have temp directory. So if you want to create a temporary files, if you want to store the executable files, exe files or packages files before installing, then you can use temporary directory, and then once you perform that particular task, then you can remove that file content directories or exe from that temporary folder. So you have to perform the cleanup so that it won't occupy much spaces. So we have a mechanism to delete the data, existing data. So we have a retention period of 10 days or 15 days you can set up. So based on that we can do we can do this scheduled job as well. So you might hear the task called disk space cleanup. So one of the main subtask is to clean up the temp files. So most of the temp files have, having the application data, database logs. So we don't want to carry the entire logs. So if you want to delete with retention of 30 days or 10 days based on your project, you can retain that day, and then after that you can delete the remaining data, so that we can save some spaces. So and also performance will be increased. So next one is slash user. So slash user, if you are going to install the software from your local account, then you can use the user. So only the softwares which are installing from your own directory, it will be available there. And the last one is slash var. It's a variable data. So the system specific variables data, which means we can segregate two type of variables actually. One is system variables, or built-in variable. The next one is user-defined variables. So the system or built-in variables is nothing but in the environmental variable are you know so the system itself having some variable which is mainly used to take for some process. It might be a booting process, it might be the configuration process, it's a system process. So those kind of process, it will take it will take the values from that particular variables. So for printer, spooled informations, printer, so system variables. So if you see ls var, you can able to find this many folders. So if you see log slash var slash log, you can able to find the log information about the system. So it might be the cron logs. So cron is nothing but is a scheduler. So we have task scheduler in Windows, right? So in Linux we have cron tab. So we will learn about this one later in detail. Just for the understanding, cron is the task scheduler. So if you want to check the scheduler information, the log information, and if you want to check the system logs, so if you want to check the mail logs, so if you want to check the printer logs, printer log might be stored on Spooler. So if you want to do some analytics, or if you want to get to know some information from the logs, you have to visit slash var directory. Okay. And then if you want to do some log migration, so for example in some projects we supposed to move the individual server logs to the designated log server, which is Splunk, right? So in that case you can schedule a job to get the logs, and then you can move that logs to the Splunk servers. So if you already have the Splunk agent to be installed and it will be taken automatically, it's fine. But if you want to do some designated way to using the scripting without any agent, you can still use the shell script to perform that one, and you can schedule that one in automated way. without any manual touch time. So any questions till now?
Can you explain the Plunk? What is that actually? I'm very new to it actually.
Oh, okay, no issues. Actually, Splunk is the software which is mainly used for monitoring. Okay, so it's mainly for log monitoring. So if you want to do if you have lot of application, if you have lot of servers, 10,000 virtual servers, and even cloud server, it might be on premises or it might be the cloud, and you have a lot of data, right? Logs data, application data, DB data, user data. So those kind of data will be there. So instead of managing all logs on the individual servers, so there's a separate Splunk server will be there. So it will store all the logs and it will collate or it will do the logic what you are adding the logics in the Splunk server, Splunk dashboard actually. So it will collate and then it will give the data in the proper format. It might be the graphical interface, graphical format, and also it's a tabular format. So those kind of visualizations there. Have you heard about Grafana? Grafana
Uh,
or
Yes, yes.
Dynatrace?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Dynatrace, App Dynamics, those and all is visualization, data visualization, log collection, those kind of softwares actually. So in detail,
Typically,
so
it's a logging tool. So
exactly, yeah. So it's mainly for log monitoring, analyzing the logs based on the data, and it will provide the data in the web format website. So dashboard will be there, Splunk dashboard. So once you connected all client machines, so it's a agent based. So the Splunk client agent will be installed on individual servers. If you have 1,000 servers in one environment, so the agent will be installed on 1,000 servers, and the agent is communicating to the Splunk server. So it will pull that information based on the need, and then the logs, basically it's a log information. It will gather that log information from individual server, and it will store or push it to Splunk server, and the Splunk server will collate all the things, and based on the rules, rules is the one which is already predefined one. So based on the rules, it will collate and it will give the data in proper format. It might be the dashboard, it might be the pie chart, those kind of things it will give.
It will
Yeah,
show
like
us a
this.
visual as like visual.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So again, it's a enterprise version, so which involve cost.
Mm-hmm.
So, so for some project, if if they are ready to purchase, they might purchase this one for their management.
As per client
So
requirement.
exactly, yeah, a client recommend. For some project, if they don't want to use the paid one, they can use the open source. So we have Grafana. Grafana is again a free open source. Uh, Grafana dashboard. It's again a dashboard. So you can use this open source for doing the analytics and also the visualization. The problem is you have to do your own. So when you are going with open source, but Splunk and all based on the agent, it will pull the data whatever it's needed. So you don't need to take and carry anything. So just needed to work on something on the Splunk dashboard, Splunk server. So here, if you are going with open source, so we have to push the log from individual servers using a scripting to the Grafana servers, or we have Prometheus as well. Prometheus. So we can use both together. The Prometheus is mainly for monitoring, observability, and the Grafana is mainly for visualization. So you can use combinedly both in order to get the result of Splunk actually. So Splunk is both monitoring and also dashboard log analytics tool visualization. Okay, but if you are going with open source, we could not able to get the full solution. So we have to rely on multiple softwares like Grafana and Prometheus. So that's the thing we need to take in care. Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will explore on this. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a
So
lot of open source, monitoring systems. So Nagios is the one which is having both open source and also commercial one, and also we have a few more open source. Yeah. 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 Please go ahead.
yeah. So I think we talked about this standalone architecture. So, but if you go to any enterprise, Linux also will be into the domain architecture. Can you please explain how, I mean, this integration will works with the domain?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a good question. So usually in most of the company projects, so when it comes to Windows, we have AD controller. So from that, the authentication is mainly from AD account, right? So domain level authentication will be there. And when it comes to Linux, so mostly we are using individual, but we can use AD authentication as well using SSSD. So SSSD is the mechanism. Using that, we can able to integrate with AD. So once you integrated with the AD, then we can use our AD account for connecting that Linux machines.
What is the expansion of the SSD?
Yeah. So SSD means system security service daemon. It's a service actually. So it's a service. Using that, we can able to achieve the interaction. We can able to create a bridge between the Active Directory LDAP. Okay.
Can you go a little more detail about this one, Napoleon? Actually,
Okay.
if possible, actually.
Yeah. So the thing is, in Windows, we are using Kerberos authentication. So, for example, if we are creating a user account on AD, so from that, based on the domain, we can use that account. For example, so I have a server called server 001. This is the server. So let's say it's a Windows server. So I have a account. This is the domain for this server is apac.com. Okay, the FQDN is server001 dot apac.com. Am I right? So I am the Windows team member. So when I start working on the team, so the account will be created for me on the AD level. So for example, Napoleon apac/Napoleon. Okay, so in that domain, there's a individual account to be created. So which mean, so whenever I need to connect with the servers which is in APAC domain, I can use my APAC domain servers. I can use my APAC ID. This is my ID, right? So I can use my ID. So this ID to be created in domain level. on the AD side, Active Directory side. So once I created, I can use this account for multiple servers within the APAC domain. So let's say if we have 100 servers in APAC domain, I can use this account to connect 100 servers. So which mean if you created on AD, there is no need of creating the account on individual servers. Am I right?
Yes.
So
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to Linux, let's say server 002. This is your Linux server. Okay, so there are two ways. One is even we can create an individual account in Linux as well, local account. But mostly we go with the AD account. 95%. So in Linux we have do the same thing. So let's say if you have a Linux server, and mostly we can create a individual account. So which means if someone is joined in the Linux team, if we have 100 machines, so we have to go and create a account on 100 machines. It is somewhat difficult. Instead, we can create, if we have a Red Hat satellite, if we have a SUSE manager, we can push to create for multiple servers. That's another point. But the biggest issue is it is not good to have a uh, create individual account on individual machine, multiple machines. Instead, we can go and create only one account in AD level. Let's say this same account, which be used for Linux account authentication as well. So by default, it won't be that you can't do directly. So in order to achieve, the AD integration on Linux servers, you have to rely with SSSD. So SSSD is nothing but System Security Services Daemon. So using this software, you can able to interact or integrate with Active Directory.
Okay, Napoleon. So the SSSD is one of the Red Hat Linux package which we need to install on the Linux machine. That's going to connect with our Active Directory server. Is that right?
Exactly, correct.
Okay. So once once this SSD package has been installed on Linux machine, till what much level of Windows Active Directory things is going to apply on the Linux box? It is only for just authentication purpose, or even some of the group policies or anything is applied on Windows box that is also going to comes for the Linux one?
No, it's only for authentication. So it is the GPO policy handles something different actually. So it's only for Windows.
Okay, in case whatever the GPO policy is being created on the Windows Active Directory, will that be going to apply on Linux box, or is there any other packages need to be installed to have that policy and permissions, or that is not at all going to honored by Linux operating system?
So Linux is something different actually. So for example, if you have that, so whatever the policy or something, you can use that satellite. So likewise, we have SUSE manager. Using that SUSE manager, you can apply the policies. So something different thing actually. So GPO is mainly for Windows. So even if you integrate AD, so you could not able to push that policy. But there are third party tools available. So for sure. So there is options is there, but mostly we are not using that in that way.
Yeah, typically any enterprise they will be using third-party tool like Centrify kind of thing, right? So for authentication sort of thing. So, but you're saying that I mean this TripleSD is a kind of a default Linux component that can use to integrate with AD. But in best practice, I think what I'm assuming that most of the people will be using third-party. So, can you
Yeah.
give some third-party tools name which are being used for this integration purpose?
Can you
So
type the same
okay.
thing
So
on the chat window also?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so whatever I typed here, it will be available on the GitHub. So even last week content, this week content, along with the slide, it will be uploaded in the GitHub. So probably today or tomorrow, I will share that URL in the WhatsApp.
So Ramesh and Vimal, to answer a little more addition on what Napoleon has covered, see, Active Directory is Microsoft product, right? It's mainly for centralized identity management and also some level like we are using it for group policy management to push the policies on predominantly Windows client, right? And it is designed to push the group policy on security settings, which is inbuilt in Windows client machine, right? The systems will receive the .pol or the policy files from the domain controller. Since Linux is lacking that particular native option to receive those POL files, like Vimal highlighted, organization might use tools like Centrify or Beyond Trust, or maybe even within Samba, there is an option called Group Policy Extension, which can be used. And to answer your question, Ramesh, there is no native support within Active Directory to cover the Linux machines. So we need to use third-party tools to inherit that policies onto the Linux machine. And the triple SD part, right? Triple SD is mainly only for the centralized authentication and the single sign-on, like how we do on the Windows machine to manage them centrally. We can also use triple SD daemon, the service on the Linux machine, to centrally manage the identity as well as the authentication portion alone. Nothing beyond that. It's mainly for centralized identity management and authentication purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Stan, can you give me the third-party
Sure,
tools
sure.
which you are using? That one, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Let me
I'll
go
put
through
it.
those
Yeah,
website
yeah.
actually.
I'll just
Thank you.
type it. Sure. Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah, so as he said, we can use Samba as well for the policy settings. This is another software. All right. So,
Hey,
have you
one more
heard about?
question, Napoleon. Sorry,
Yeah, no
sorry to
problem. Tell
interrupt.
me. Yeah,
Since we
please.
talked about satellite, you just, I mean, said some whatever. I just want to know, like, what exactly the satellite does. I mean, we know that, I mean, it's all pushing the patches and everything. But other than patching stuff, I mean, what is being, why the satellite is being used for Linux environment?
Okay, so it's mainly for kind of provisioning, right? So patching, some kind of pushing mechanism, right? And also it
Okay.
mainly for and also for subscription as well. So for example, if you have licensing part, right? So we have 1,000 Red Hat servers. So if you want to know the EOL, EOS, and also the license support, so those kind of subscription you can able to manage from that satellite.
Okay.
And
It's kind of
also you
centralized
can create,
management. Okay.
yeah, and also you can use for reporting, kind of how many servers are healthy, those kind of health check, those kind of report you can generate from there. And next one, we can use it for repositories to store some packages, customized packages, especially for your project. You can keep it there, and then you can push it to client machines.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So have you heard about CyberArk?
Hey, CyberArk.
CyberArk. Yeah.
Password vault application.
CyberArk. Yeah, exactly. Password vault. This is a password vault tool, right? So we can use this tool as well to get to know once you onboarded the servers, both the Windows and Linux. So you can get the temporary password on, whenever you are going to connect, right? So you can get the temporary password from that server. I mean, from the portal, and then you can connect the servers. This is also possible. So either we can go with the individual account authentication, username and password, or else you can integrate AD using a SSD, or else you can use CyberArk for the account management. account authentication. Right. So any questions?
No questions, Napoleon.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. All right. So we'll take a 10 minutes break and then we'll continue with the help systems. About help system. So in any language or any environment, let's say PowerShell, Python, so any kind of code. So we always have a documentation. So even in the Windows or Linux, we have a documentation is there. So the documentation is nothing but it's a help system. So it will be helpful to find the command purpose and the syntax. Okay, and in Linux, we if you know the command or if you know a keyword, so based on that it will find the exact keyword from the documentation and it will provide the output. So for example, help and followed by cd, and if you want to check what is cd in Linux, so it will give you the output of cd like here. Okay, so it will provide the information like CD and followed by what are the options available on CD. So we have cute, this number of options. So whatever you are seeing with the hyphen, it's a option for that particular command. Okay, and it will provide the description of that particular command. So change current directory, and it will provide detailed information of each options. So if you use -l, it will give 4 symbolic links, and we will learn about symbolic links and all later. So it will provide physical directory if you are using -p. So based on the options, it will provide the information. Right. So if you want to check what are the options available on the particular command, you can use help system, help followed by ls. Okay, so for some commands, so we can get the help from man command. Man is another command. Using that, if you use the command, it will provide the documentation in details. So if I use man followed by ls, so it's providing the information about ls command, list directory contents, and then it is providing the description and also options. So in Linux, we can use single hyphen option, or else we can use the full information. So for example, ls followed by hyphen a. If you use ls followed by hyphen a, it will provide all file information, all file details. So instead of hyphen a, you can use hyphen all as well. So either you can use hyphen a, or else you can use hyphen all. Anything will work actually. So ls followed by a will provide the all files. So even if you can able to find dot files as well. So if you are typing only with ls, it will provide only the file names. It won't give any um, so for some time, so you can't able to view some files, right? So it will be a hidden format. So if you want to see the hidden files as well, you have to go with options a, so that you can able to find the hidden files. So the hidden files, right? So dot, it started with dot, so dot bash So .tc .vim rc. So those are the files are hidden files. So if you use ls, you can't able to file that hidden files. So if you want to see all files including hidden files, you have to use options A. So likewise, if you want to see in list format, you can use -l. So -l option will provide the output in list format, and also you can you can have the details of the file permissions and the account which is created, and also the size of that particular file in KB, and the date modified. So those kind of file property you can able to view when you are using list format. So you can able to add more options together instead of adding multiple hyphens. So if you instead of adding hyphen L hyphen A, you can add hyphen AL or LA. So what I'm saying, so you can group all options together with one hyphen itself. So usually, so whatever you're seeing with the hyphen, right? So it's an options. So options are arguments to that particular command. So if you want to combine two more options, so instead of using hyphen A, followed by hyphen capital A or hyphen B, you can use hyphen AA or hyphen AB. So you can use only one hyphen and followed by number of options together. So currently I used A for the all and also L for list. So if you want to check inode information, so index number of file, you can use hyphen I. So hyphen L is for long listing format. So we can use LL as well. So LL is is another command. So instead of using ls hyphen LA, you can use LL command. It's a short command of ls hyphen LA. So L for list, A for all. So instead of using ls space hyphen LA or AL, you can use LL as well. So LL will provide the same output, list all files. So the syntax is man is the command to display the manual details or documentation details of each commands, and followed by space and followed by the command. So if you want to know the detailed information of particular command, if you want to know the options available on that particular command, you can use man command to find that. So it will provide the detailed view of command name, synopsis, description, options, exit status, return status, errors, examples, authors, and also it will provide the link to check in the internet. So any questions? So probably can you work this one in your lab and let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, please let me know once you're done. Yeah, Gangadhar. So yeah, so I am not speaking actually. So I asked you're the one to try with man and also list command, ls command. So once you're done with the lab, please let me know so that we can proceed with next content.
So Gangadhar, I've given the link on the chat. You can just click on that link where you can access the Red Hat lab and practice those commands which Napoleon is sharing on the screen. Napoleon, I guess we can resume and continue. Let them try that later as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So we'll start with basic commands. So we already know Linux is using by default with born again shell, bash shell, and whatever we are typing command at the terminal is bash shell. Okay. So if you want to know which user is currently connected, we can use who am I command to get to know that one. So this command is mainly used when we are working on the scripting. So for example, if you want to capture who is executing that particular script, so for that reason we can use who am I command to get to know which account is really using to run that particular scripting. So for that reason, we need who am I command. So currently we already know which user is currently logged in, but it will be very helpful when we are working with when we deal with scripting. So the second one is we can use multiple commands in one line using a semicolon. So for example, so pwd is the command to get to know the present working directory. So currently it is in root directory. So if you want to navigate to different directory, we can use cd. So cd is nothing but change directory. So I'm moving to temp now. So you can able to view /temp here. But within the temp, we might have multiple subdirectories as well, right? So for example, if I am moving tm ux, right? So if you, in some cases, if you have multiple subdirectories, so if you want to know where I am, which path currently I'm using, then you can use pwd for present working directory to know present working directory. So it will provide the full path, so where you are starting from. All right. So what I'm telling, so if you want to run multiple commands, so you can use delimiter as semicolon. So for example, if I need to use pwd followed by ls. So pwd is the command to get to know present working directory. ls is the command to list the files and folders. So if I need to run multiple commands on the single line, so I can use semicolon, and first it will execute the first command and it will provide the output, and then followed by it will run the second command and it will provide the output. So likewise, you can add a number of commands with semicolon, and you will get all output combined together. So the third one is date. So if you want to know the system date, you can use date command. So it will provide the day, month, day, and also time. So along with UTC year. So if you want to customize or format the date, you can do with date options. So if you want to know what are the options available with the date command, you can use manual. So man followed by date, and you can able to find the list of options. So if you want to know only date, you can use -d. So if you want to format, then you can use -f. So if you want to use, if you want to set time, you can use -s. So initial after your server build, So if you want to set some particular time zone, then you can use -s for setting the time. So if you want to know the UTC time, universal time, you can use -u. And these are the format we can use for formatting the dates. So for example, if you want to format in hyphen, you want to format with the date, month followed by slash, date followed by year. So or else if you want to format only with the date with hyphen, you can do when formatting. And if you want to fetch only the time, so you can able to format the time. So if you want to format, you need to understand what are the options we have to use. So there's a symbol I used, right? Percentage R. So the percentage R is mainly used to provide the time. So if you want to see what is the percentage R, you can able to understand from this table. Yeah. So the percentage R, capital R, will provide 24 hours and minutes format. So if you want 12 hours format, you can use small r. Okay. And if you want to get only the seconds, you can use small s. So if you want to add a new line, you can use n, small n. So for nanoseconds, you can use capital N. So likewise for date, time, date format and all, we can use these options. So -u for day of week. So the one started with Monday. So if you are getting one, which means it's a Monday. So let's try with R and X. X will provide the date actually. So I think yeah. So if you see here, so small x to provide the date representation in slash format, month slash date slash year. So if you want to customize the date, you can use these options to format the date. So date percentage x. So we provide the output like this. So if you want to use u or small r, so small r will provide in 12 hours format and capital R will provide in 24 hours format. So the current time is 1:39 p.m. So it's providing the right options, right values. All right. Okay. So yeah, please try this command and let me know if you have any questions. So whatever the commands I have, put it in the slides is very useful, and also we supposed to need in our day-to-day operations. Especially if you are going to automate something, so we need yeah, the exact command to get the output, and we need to present, right? So we mostly deal with date. So because of if you want to create a timestamp file for storing the output, so we need to deal with the date command, and also format is mainly required. So whatever the commands which I provided, so we need to understand the purpose so that we can utilize for automation. Okay, so next command is the passwd. So if you want to change password of current user, you can use passwd command So let's say this is my online lab, right? So currently it does not have any password. So that's why if you are connecting from the browser, it won't ask you to enter any credentials, username or password. So directly it is connecting to root account, right? So if I need to connect with, if I need to create a password or if I need to change the password for this root account, then I can use PassWD. It will ask you to enter the new password. Oops. Okay. So it will ask you to enter the password. So if I'm typing something, and it will ask you to retype the same password. So once it's matched, so the password has been updated successfully. And if I am connecting again, so it will ask you to enter the username and password. So it won't work in the lab since after few minutes it will be erased all our user settings and files, and it will create from the scratch. And so if you are using the your own system, so lab, then if you change, if you want to change the password, you can use passwd. So basically passwd to change or create a password for the particular user, current user. So if you want to create or change the password for some other user, still you can create with passwd followed by username. So username is, the whatever the user is already present on the machines. So if you want to force or create a password for that user, you can still create. But in order to create the users for individual account, you must be a root account. So from the root only, you can able to do those kind of changes. And even if you are, fully having the permissions of the sudo permissions, then you can perform the same. All right. The next one is file. So file is another command. So it will provide the format of the file. So for example, if you provide some path, it will go and find that property, and it will give the details. It's a file or directory or what kind of file. Those kind of details it will give. So for example, so I have default file, directory, right? So if I'm using file followed by default, so it is providing it's a socket. So this is kind of socket file. So even in the property, right? So if you're using ll command, it will give you the output in the list format with the detailed output, like the permissions and also the account which is created, the files and folders, and size of that file, and also the modified date, right? So from the permissions itself, we can able to understand what type of file. So for example, I have created a file called test.txt. It's a normal file. So that's why it started with hyphen. There is no letters here. It started with hyphen. So in case it's a socket file, it started with yes. Since default is the socket file, that's why it started with yes. And if we have any folders, let's say if I'm creating a new folder called sample. So mkdir is the command to create a directory or folder. So if I do ll, I can able to find that sample folder. So in that it is created now and also created with root account. And if you see that permission, folder permission, you can able to find it started with D. So D for directory, right? So if it is a directory, it will start with D. So if it is a socket file, it start with S. So if it is a normal file, it won't start anything. It start with hyphen. Is it clear? Any questions? So if I use file sample, so it will show it's a directory. So if I use test.txt, so it will provide the output as ASCII file. So where the file command will work? So when we use file command, any guesses? Any idea? Can you hear me right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thanks. So any idea why we are using file command? So this is the purpose of, I mean, we know if you are using file followed by some path, it will give the output like directory ASCII file. So in which scenario we supposed to use file? That's my question.
To find the file type. So
Exactly. So I mean, it's not only the type. Um, so if you are getting the input from the users to to perform something, let's say enter the file which you want to modify. Okay, if they're entering the folder instead of file, we need to validate that path, right? Whether it's a file, a normal file, or it's a directory, we need to understand. So we have to do some kind of validation before doing something. So when you are working on any logical in the scripting level, automation, level, then so we have to use file to validate whether the user input is a valid one. So they might give folders instead of file name, right? So we have to validate whether it's a folder or a file. So based on the validation, if it is a folder, you can just give the information like this is the folder. Please provide the correct file. So those kind of validations should be performed, whenever you are processing the user's input. So they might be wrong understanding, typo mistake also can be done from their end. So we have to validate in such cases so that the file command will be used for that such scenarios. All right. So next one is cat command. Cat is the content command to get content of particular file. So you can use cat command. So cat followed by test.txt will provide content of test.txt file. So you can get content of multiple files as well. So for example, if you can use multiple files, cat followed by file 1, followed by file 2, followed by file 3. So you have to carefully give space between each words. So cat is the command, test.txt is the file name. So I am giving the same file name again so that we can get two contents. So cat will work on multiple files. That's what I mean to say. So cat is the command to get content of the file. You can use or you can pass multiple files in the cat command. So it will go and read the content and it will display in the console terminal. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so the next one is head tail command. So there are two commands which is mainly used, in order to do text processing or output processing. Okay, so for example, if you want to get only 10 lines from above, from top or else if you want to get 5 lines from the below. So those kind of scenario, we have to use head or tail command. So for example, df is the command will provide the disk information of the system. So it's a file system information. You can get it using df command. Okay. So man df. So if I'm checking the manual documentation, so df command will report file system or disk space usage information. So if you are getting the alert on file system, let's say this server having system performance issue, this server having disk utilization is high, those kind of tickets you might receive right on the Linux servers. So whenever you're receiving the system or disk information related disk space information, disk space related tickets, you have to check df command and you have to find which file system having more space utilized. So df is the command, and if you see, you can able to find the file system over here, and you have to check the used size and also available size, and also you can check use percentage. So if the percentage is more than 80% or 90% a threshold which you um, already mentioned in the monitoring system. So based on the threshold, if it reaches the above threshold, it will go and trigger the incident. Am I right? So everything is monitored in the monitoring tool. Let's say it might be the SCOM, it might be the Splunk, it might be the any kind of monitoring tool, SolarWinds. So those are the popular monitoring tool, and the purpose of tool is to monitor each and every servers, and based on the threshold or rules which is defined on the monitoring tool, it will do the alert creation or suppression. So those kind of thing will be happen in the backend. This is same for all environment. It might be the Windows, storage, database, everything. So is there any question on that one? How the infrastructure is working, how the system is monitoring, how the ticket will be go to the service now or remedy tool. So we already know about that one, right? So um, if the file system is above that threshold, it will go and create a ticket, and we will get the ticket in the ServiceNow or any ticketing tool. So based on the ticket, we have to connect that particular server, and we have to type df command to get to know the percentage. So if really a true incident or is a false incident, we have to make sure to validate on the server side. It might be the false alert as well in rare scenario. So during some time, if the user added some extra files, so at the time we will get those kind of ticket. But after some time, they might delete that file, or they might move to different systems. So at the time, the threshold will be less. So at the time we won't get those kind of data, right? So whenever you are getting disk space alert, you have to check that particular server, and you have to check the disk space whether it's a correct ticket or not. So once you find the threshold is reached, let's say used percentage is 80% or 90%, so at that time, so you have to delete that file. So whatever the file is not important or is not needed, you can delete that file. Disk space cleanup or some kind of cleanup activity is supposed to perform. It's a part of remediation steps, right? So why I'm saying, if we want to filter this data, so if we consider there is no ticketing tool, monitoring tool in place, or the disk space is not monitored in that level, then you can create a logic to monitor this one actually. So what you have to do, you have to run df command in particular time interval, and you have to check which file system you are going to monitor. So let's say STA, STB, STC. I already told, right? So STA is mostly contains the system data. So whatever you are seeing on the C disk is a OS information, right? So likewise, we have different file systems in Linux: STA, STB, STC, and which file system if you are going to monitor, you have to find that one. So if you want to fetch that particular line, so if you use df command, it will show the temporary file system as well. It will show the NFS file system or whatever the file system is available or added mounted in the systems, right? So if you want to monitor the particular file system like SDA, then you have to get that particular line. It might be the line 5, it might be the line 6, or it might be the line 7, right? So we have to get that particular line. So let's say, so if I need to get this data, STA2 or STA1, then so how I can able to get? I can able to get using head command or tail command. So head, by default, if we use head, it will give top 10 lines. So currently, the output of df command having only 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines. So that's why it's giving the entire values. So if you want to minimize the lines, we can use -n 3. So which means number of lines you can filter based on the -n option. So from df command, the head will be processed with the help of pipeline. Have you heard about pipeline command? Pipeline simple. You know the purpose of pipeline?
They are using. Never heard why they are using.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can I speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, yeah. The pipe symbol we know, but
Okay.
why we are using, we are not.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the input. Okay. So we will learn about this one, but in short, I will say. So pipeline is the one to get past the output of the previous command to next command. So what it will do, it will run the df command and then it will pass that output into the next command using pipeline. Pipeline is the intermediate, it's an interface between the previous command and next command. So the output of the previous command will be passed into input of the next command, input to the next command.
Okay.
So pipeline will act as a interface between command 1 and command 2. Okay, so what it will do, it will take the output of the previous command, the command 1, and it will give that output to cmd2 input. So in our example, it takes the output of df command and pass that output to head command. Okay, so in df command we have 9 lines, 9 or 10 lines, which is passed to head commands. From that, it is filtered only 3 lines from the top. Is it clear now? So we can able to filter only 3 from the top using head command. So likewise, if you want to get last from the bottom, you can use tail command. So if you use tail, it will get last 10 lines by default, 10 rows by default. Okay, so as I said, head, right? Head and tail, by default it will fetch only 10 lines or 10 rows. So if you want to change with some numbers, you can use -n option to filter with 3 or 4 any lines. So if I use -n4, it fetched the bottom 4 lines.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I
Clear.
can use n
And
number of.
suppose we
Actually,
didn't
your
mention
voice
any
is breaking. I'm not sure Ambu is only for
rows.
me. How about others?
It default it
Anbu,
I can also
I
not
could not
hear.
hear you. Yeah,
We
your
couldn't
voice
also
is
hear.
settings,
breaking, Anbu. Yeah, thanks, Ramya.
right?
Anbu, actually, your voice is breaking, so we could not hear you. Can you speak now? Okay, so Anbu, probably you can put it on the chat. So I will check.
Yeah, okay, I clear. Understand, no problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. All right. So yeah, so I can use n number of pipelines actually. So for example, I need to take only the main devices, main device names. So main file systems instead of temporary files. I can able to perform using tail and headers as well. So for example, df is the command to fetch the entire file systems. From that, I can use tail to fetch bottom four rows, and from that I can fetch top three, so that I can able to fetch only this file system which is mainly used on that server. So there are different ways to fetch the data, to process the data. This is one type of one type of thing to get only the defined file systems. So either we can use tail, head, or else we can use head, tail, or we can use some other way. Grub also, grub is another command. We can use that grub command as well. So we will learn about that one later. Is it clear with head and tail command? Any questions?
As of now, we are clear.
Okay, yeah, thanks. All right. So the next one is word count. So WC. So WC is nothing but word count, word count, WC. Okay. So if you want to get the count of each word or each letter, so you can use WC command. So the purpose of WC is print new line, word, byte counts for each file. Okay. So suppose we have a file. So if you want to know how many words are there in that file content, or how many letters are there, how many bytes are there, how many rows are there, so you can able to get those kind of information in order to create your logic. Okay, so for example, if the file having 10 lines, or it's a dynamically updating every time. So if you want to make sure how many lines are there in that file, you can use WC command to get to know the number of lines available. So even though the files is keep on appending, is keep on adding a new line. So whatever the contents already exist, you can get to know using WC command. So there are few options are there. So -c for bytes, byte count. So for character count, we can use -m. Characters, we know characters, letters count. -l for lines. So how many lines are there? You can use -l. So -w for words. So let's say, so I am using WC. So if you use df command followed by pipeline, so you can use the WC command or head command, tail command, those kind of command, in the output of particular command. Others you can use with files. Get the files and then you can use WC as well. So whatever the input is passed to WC, it will take as a input and it will process against that input. It might be the output of the previous command, or it might be the file as a file name, file content. So here I used df command. So we already know df command is used to get the details of file system. So from that, if you use WC command after the pipeline, it will process that output and it will give the information about the counts. So 9 is nothing but number of lines. So if you count this, we have 9 lines, 55 words, 536 letters. So it will give the overall data. So if you want the individual data, let's say df pipeline WC followed by -l. So -l option is mainly for lines, number of lines. So if you want to get to know now how many lines are there in that output, you can use -l option to get that data. So if you want to know how many words are there, you can use W. So if you're not passing any options, it will provide all data together. Is it clear? Okay, so probably try your environment and let me know if you have any questions. So try with head, tail, and then WC command. All right. So, have we done with the labs? Any questions? Okay. So today we discussed about the OS installation and the difference between open source and also commercial OS. So and also we started with the help system, how to find the options of particular command. So using help or man command. So and also we used to find the options of some commands and started with basic commands. So for example, ls command, gate command, so and also cat command, cd command. So those kind of basic commands we explored. And also we discussed about pipeline and head, tail, those basic commands. And finally, we touched upon word count, how to get the number of letters or number of lines from the output. So, any questions on the today's topic? All right. So, I would recommend to try the commands in your labs. So that's why I'm giving some time for completing the labs. So if you join from the laptop, it will be helpful for you to try right away and ask the questions if you have, or if you find any issues as well, we can share your screen and we will fix that issue. All right. So any other questions? Yeah. So what do you Stan? You have anything to say, Stan?
No, I think we are good. We should try and join from the laptop. Yeah, that is what this is good because we want to have the team practice the command. So these commands are going to be very much required when we go and write shell scripts and the Ansible scripting. So without these basic command, it will be a little difficult to write our own scripts or modify the scripts. So we would recommend you to log in from the laptop, or at least during your weekdays, we will be sharing the GitHub link. You can practice those commands during your free time and come back with whatever questions you might have, so that we will be able to clarify it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Stan.
No, one question. The recording will be there. So start.
Yeah, we'll share the recording today only. After a couple of hours, we'll be sharing the recording, and we'll also share the GitHub link. You can follow those commands to practice on your own and come back if there are any questions.
Okay. Okay. Sir. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.